science, took fingerprints of somebody who materialized and then compared those fingerprints when the person was still alive, and they were identical. Now that is proof of survival. That's not hearsay, and it's John Noguebert himself telling this wonderful story. I think it's incredible, because only a few years ago in England you could have been hung on that evidence, fingerprint evidence, you see. So this is the sort of thing we will be doing. And when we set up these experiments, this is what we should be doing, taking fingerprints of the people. For example, my mother, who died 4 years ago, I've still got her fingerprints here. In case she does materialise at one of our experiments, then I'll take her fingerprints when she materialises and compare the fingerprints that I've got on her mirror here when she died. So that'll be just another exercise. But as I say, we've already done those exercises. All we've been waiting for is the maths, which we've now got. At an early age of 16, I read the scientific proof of survival, and I realised that if a 16-year-old, if these great scientists like Crookes and Lodge and Riche had failed to break through, there's no point in a 16-year-old having a crack. I stood no chance. So for 25 years I went into the commercial world. I was an auctioneer and estate agent. And then in 1980, the missing mathematics started coming through. So I knew I would succeed where Crookes and Lodge had failed. So I started to make a big effort to break through and let everybody know about survival. And then I found out exactly what we're up against, a vast establishment conspiracy to make sure they don't find out about this. So that's how the campaign for philosophical freedom started. We've got to get a vast organisation against the establishment, which we've now got. I've got about 25,000 people fighting with me, tearing into the establishment with their pens, and we are breaking through. This was last week's Psychic News. Survival to be given a fair hearing on radio. It isn't until you find out and try and make a breakthrough exactly what we're up against. It was against the law to speak on the radio in a serious scientific manner about survival after death. We challenge this, and of course it's exactly the same as votes for women or votes for blacks. It's a cause you can't fail if you kick up hard enough. And I threatened to take them to the European Court, the Radio Authority, and this just threatening to take them there did the trick. They realised that it was outrageous, these clauses saying you can't talk about life after death in a serious manner, so they actually changed it. We can thank Lord Chalfont, the head of the Radio Authority, who personally intervened and got the law changed. And now I'm broadcasting every week on local radio. We're telling the world about these wonderful breakthroughs. We still haven't broken through on television or national radio yet, or in the national press. If you check it out, the national press is owned by Christians who are prejudiced. The owner of the Telegraph, for instance, is a Roman Catholic, Conrad Black. The owner of half our press is Rupert Murdoch, who's a born-again Christian. This is what we've got. But you put that across the whole of the television, radio, the press as well. It's people with vested interest making sure we don't get out. Going back to that statement in the beginning from Adrian Berry, the science correspondent of the Telegraph. We must never forget what we're up against. It's only the people right at the top who are blocking us. It's not ordinary journalists, it's not ordinary broadcasters. They're all as keen as mustard to get this through, but they've got to watch their paymasters, because some of these journalists are on big money, hundreds, thousands of pounds a year, you see. They daren't risk that. It's got to be somebody outside the system like me to make the breakthrough. And when we do, just think of the implications once millions and millions of people know for a stone-cold scientific fact that we survive death. This is going to be a much better planet to live on. As I said earlier, people will have to watch their step. There's even on a smaller scale of people who have been selfish to their partners or their wives or husbands. They're going to start to think a bit more about other people than themselves. Going to be kinder to animals when they realise that animals also survive death, because that's what everybody says from the next world, that the next world is very much like this one, only far more beautiful. Got better colours and better everything. And all the animals are there, all the trees are there. But the surroundings apparently of people who haven't led good lives on earth aren't nearly so good as the majority of people with beautiful gardens and everything. So it sounds a bit too good to be true, I admit, but we'll have to wait until we get there to find out whether all this hearsay is correct. So I'm quite prepared to do that. And when I did say about I'm so keen to play cricket, rugby and golf, the chap from the next world did say to me, he says, Mike, of course you'll be able to play your sport. But he says, when you get over here, you'll find you've got so much to do, you'll soon get fed up chasing after a ball. You'll want to carry on the work you're doing now, which is so important, and you'll probably find a medium to work through on Earth to carry on your fight, which makes sense, doesn't it? Because just think, if this hearsay is correct, what we've got to do when we get over there. Everything is recorded on time, for a start. And a chap like me who's keen on cricket, I can actually go back and experience, say, Wally Hammond or W.G. Grace actually going through their great innings as it happens, just as if I was there. The whole of history is there, so people interested in history can go back and see what is happening in history as everything is recorded. So that the mind boggles on what there is to do in the next world when you've got instant recall on everything that's happened in the past. So you see why people are so busy. But we've got thousands of us all saying, come on, let's have a balance. And that's what the fight is, only to present the physicist and rationalist case for survival alongside the other two philosophies. When you're dead, and resting in peace in the ground waiting for Judgment Day. But let's let everybody know there's a third philosophy, that we all survive death and we're immediately reunited with our loved ones who have gone before us. And once we've got that, the campaign's over. The fight's over once we've got equal time on the box. And we're going to win it because, as I say, every week we're broadcasting on local radio now.